Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to send out a message to men because it's amazing, isn't it, to be a part of MGTOW, men going their own way. Let me tell you a little bit about my introduction to MGTOW. And it's basic, okay? It's the generic version. Because talking about a man at his wit's end, looking for answers, frustrated, unable to find a clear path in life forward to being effective and strong. And that's what destroys a man and kills his hope and makes him act out. And so I'm cruising around in that sort of state online, and I think I come across some Paul Elam videos, maybe some Karen Strong videos, and I start checking them out. And for the first time in my life, I'm actually hearing a message that's sympathetic towards men, that's not shaming the men, that's not using this gynocentric blue pill language to get the man to put on a uniform and just look at the world as, you're not doing enough. You have to sacrifice more. Because I was already at my wit's end. I couldn't physically sacrifice anymore. I couldn't mentally sacrifice anymore. I couldn't emotionally sacrifice anymore. And the message all around me was, you need to sacrifice more. So as soon as I heard, hey, men have been treated unfairly, men have been treated like shit for the last 40, 50 years, certainly since the introduction of third wave feminism, I stopped and I said, what the hell is this? I've never heard this before. And I listened more closely. And you guys should check out the early Paul Elam and Karen Strong videos, right? As if you should check out the recent ones too, of course. But yeah, the early ones, just great stuff. And it turned the world upside down. In other words, this message to men that you're not completely to blame, that other people are emotionally manipulating and abusing you, that you have internalized a whole set of requirements, behavior patterns, in order to please people that don't really care about you as a man. You're actually raised with those values, right? So if you're stronger and more fit, you should get the door. And that's a fine principle, isn't it? If the person you're getting the door for would reciprocate and, extend that favor to you and held you in the high regard that you, who would open a door for them, hold them in, right? Then that would be a fine and noble thing for someone to do. But if that person resents you, if that person is looking to undermine you, if that person thinks that you owe them, then you running over and opening up that door is an act of submission. It's an act of degrading yourself. And they will lose respect for you, and you will eventually lose respect for yourself once you figure out that, it's not a noble act of sacrifice, that it's an act of supplication and submission, and that if you don't do it, they're going to punish you. What a thing for the man to realize and to accept. So it's this two sides of the coin, right? On the one hand, sympathy for men. The world uses men. Doesn't care about them. It expects their sacrifice. It conditions them to be sacrificial animals. It holds altruism as its highest ideal. Okay, so, if you want to get together, if you want to impress the woman, if you want to get ahead in life, you have to do all these things for other people. When you should be, making yourself strong and building yourself up and using your time wisely, with productive work. That's what you should be doing. And building, your future, making yourself strong. Not worried about the bullshit, not worried about what this person said or that person said, not worried about how they treat people over here or over there, but worried about your own life and your own job, and the things that you have to do to get ahead in the world and to be strong. Not any sort of, see, the other idea is that, oh no, if you'll just sacrifice and do things for other people, somewhere down the road, they'll do things for you, right? So it really is going against your own best nature. Your own best nature is expressed in freedom and capitalism. Once there's good work for a man to do, for a person to do, well, for a man to do, I don't know about others, he'll do it, if he's going to be treated fairly. Unless he's like just a douchebag, a piece of garbage, right? If he's a decent man, if he gets, fair pay for fair work, he'll do it. And he'll get good at it. And that's capitalism. And that's freedom. That's you build up the institutions of individual rights so that you can have that in place. And that's the only thing that is actually true to the male nature. Anyway, I got a little off track there, I think. A message to men. So accepting this message of sympathy for the man requires a complete restructuring of the belief system, because the previous belief system is predicated upon sacrifice, altruism, the things the man has to do in order to be accepted and to get ahead in the world, as opposed to the thing that the man needs to do in order to make himself strong and healthy and fit. Sometimes I'm taking a walk and, sometimes I have to, go do something, right? And I just can't fly around with a jetpack or anything like that. And I don't have servants. So I actually have to get up and go do things. And depending on my attitude of how I'm doing it, it largely determines the experience. For example, if I'm walking to the mailbox and I'm like hurried and angry and frustrated that I have to do this because I want to go do something else, it's a fairly uncomfortable experience. My blood pressure is a little higher, my heart's thumping a little bit. I'm looking around, the kind of fight or flight mode with extra cortisol and stress moving through me, which just can't be good for me. But if I relax and I walk just a little slower and I don't worry too much about the other things that I'm doing. I mean, I know they're there, but I'm not upset about them. My heart pressure comes down. I can enjoy the experience. I'm not torturing myself mentally throughout the whole thing. So I suggest you do that, when you can, that we put this kind of mental pressure on ourselves about the condition of the world. And you don't have to worry too much about the condition of the world and the other people. It's not right. It's not good. It's not fair. But there's not a whole lot that you can do about that. So you have to, look after your own interests. And then I think the rest of the things will take care of themselves. I hope, right? We hope. So don't focus on these things that make you all upset and angry and crazy. Focus on the things that, are productive for you in your life. And the reason why, I mention it as if like this is something profound and important, and I believe it is because I think we are conditioned as men to operate in that other mode, that fight or flight mode, that, attack and get things done mode, that always frustrated, always short of time, always short of resources, always, not enough, always not good enough, always something more that has to be done. There's always another problem just waiting that you need to get to. So that's the mindset that I believe is instilled into many men, that the gynocentric world wants men to have. Now, in rejecting this old mindset, this gynocentric mindset, we run the danger of having no structure whatsoever. You see this in the example of the man who dresses up in the cheerleader uniform and says he's MGTOW, right? It's like, gee, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's just indulging his desire to dress up as a cheerleader and then using MGTOW as the excuse to get it done. MGTOW is actually very difficult. The individuals that I've had contact with, they are very strong, independent individuals. You can't tell them what to do or anything like that, but at the same time, they're very disciplined. They're very intelligent. But when the belief system, the conditioned gynocentric mindset, the female mindset that men are raised with, sacrifice, altruism, in order to prove their worth. They have no worth in and of themselves, not even to themselves. Yeah, that's a hell of a thing, right? My greatest strength in life is my lack of concern for myself, my willingness to drive myself like I'm a ruthless taskmaster. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of, too. So whatever you say the problem is, whatever it is that's worrying you, whatever it is, that the damage that you want to avoid, I walk into it gleefully, happily. That's what I like to do, right? So look at that. Look at how strongly this mindset of sacrifice is instilled. And if you have any sort of problem with that, I know there's a voice in many of, the men's heads that says, I don't care. Bullshit. Right? And it's just going to drive through whatever the situation is. Amazing, isn't it? I think it is. So it's very frightening letting go of the mindset of the beliefs and ideas, even if they're bad and wrong ideas. You know what I mean? Like here, this is very painful. So if a man is, with a woman that he, loves for 20 years and he finds out she's been cheating on him for 10 years, it's like, okay. So that means that for the last 10 years, you've definitely been a complete idiot. And you can understand why somebody would be like, no, she wasn't really cheating on me. Because to believe it, to accept it, would be to accept that everything you believe in is bullshit. And that's devastating. That can be devastating. This mindset that we have, this map of the world that we have in our minds, it's really important to us. This is one of the primary things that we're doing, okay? You want to build artificial intelligence? One of the things it has to do is come into a room and evaluate the room, get the dimensions, get everything going on. So we do that regarding everything, okay? We even have to make up all kinds of stories to explain all kinds of unexplainable things. Okay, so that's the story. This is why, religious ideology, just religious madness and obsession, right? We have to find meaning. We have to associate meaning in some cases. It's obsessive. And we make up our stories. We do what we have to do. And these are fine structures, because to walk around otherwise, that's a really frightening and difficult prospect. And I don't expect anybody to be able to do it, except after many, many years. So to reject the mindset that you've been raised in leaves you without anything to hold on to. If you're hanging out, if it's winter and deadly outside and you're hanging out with a bunch of people that are a bunch of assholes and they don't treat you fairly, you're better off hanging out with those people than you are being, sent out into that winter. So, any group mindset, any comprehensive worldview, any map that allows the man to look out at the world, to interact with the world, to evaluate the responses relative to, his internal map, and then to make adjustments, that's primary, okay? If you don't have that, you're in limbo, you're just lost. So for the man to give that up, I mean, that's what MGTOW is, right? The man is like, well, it can lead to that. So I have great sympathy for that, and it's a really difficult thing, and you don't have to rush into it. Check out MGTOW videos. All the content producers, they come at it from a different angle. They all have these, different things to offer. Let me just say something, okay? I have never set out to make really profound, deep, groundbreaking YouTube MGTOW videos. I never set out to do that. I never thought I could do that. I don't think I can do that. I'm not interested in doing that. I don't try to do that. I never said, hey, let's go do that. I never said that. All I set out to do was to produce regular content that was sympathetic towards men. That's it. That looked at the world from a male point of view. And not any single video had to be profound or groundbreaking. The idea was and is to normalize this message, to say that this is an acceptable social message, that men are not the natural servants of women in a technological, civilized society, where you're talking about egalitarianism. You just can't do it. It doesn't work. Feminism has exposed this lie, because they'll ask for resources endlessly, and they'll claim victim status endlessly. And it's a thing of personal responsibility, and this is why my message, I think, is so important about personal responsibility. It's not about politics. It's not about demonizing any particular group. It's not about failing to have sympathy. It's just the opposite. It's saying that, look, you're going to be on your own. You have to be strong. You have to be able to control what you eat. You have to be able to control your time in any given day. You have to be able to control your emotions so that somebody can't just push your buttons, or so that circumstances can't just push your buttons. You have to be able to recover from unfair treatment on the job. I'm sorry. And I don't know that there's always going to be justice and a recourse and this idealized outcome for things. So these are just some of my thoughts concerning my message to men, MGTOW. So I guess I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.